biz. Today we are gonna look into the art of Mr. Aleksandr Petrovsky.
Aleksandr.
The man who made Carrie feel special by simply being rich. And no, you are not gonna convince me otherwise. Give us a little mystery. Give us a little romance. Maybe even some cold attitude. Wrap it up in prestige and power and we're like, choo-choo. The amount of times I said choo-choo for this video. Now I know some of you will not agree on my opinion when it comes to the charming Russian. But you know what? It's my channel. Suck it. You know how we do it here. We narrate, we analyze, we often judge. And we do believe that, yes, we know better and would do better, okay? Hopefully. Our girls, Carrie and Charlotte, are at a gallery. It's a new hit trend. The artist is not presenting their art, but they are the art.
I'm attempting to change the energy field of this room, and perhaps that energy shift will shift the energy of the world.
Good for her. So besties for lunch?
It's safe to say Carrie does not find this impressive. But there is someone in the back who seems to be interested in Carrie. You see, as she looks around, she locks eyes with him, a charming older gentleman who smiles at her. It is Aleksandr Petrovsky. And Charlotte cannot believe it. He is the it guy when it comes to art.
Oh my God. That's Aleksandr Petrovsky, the artist.
Carrie, though, is clueless. How would she, the it girl of the New York scene, know about famous people in New York?
You see that guy? He's the next Donald Trump. Do you know him?
No, I've never seen him in my life.
People, it's her shtick. That's what makes her different. Not being impressed by all these powerful men. Right? Right? Petrovsky is in his early 50s, right? He has the charm. He has the success. He has the confidence, the attitude, and he's a creative type. One might say best of both worlds for Carrie. The successful businessman big was not really it. The artsy Aiden was also not really it, but put them together, who knows what will happen? We know what happens. At one point, Carrie and Charlotte are ready to leave the gallery, but Aleksandr approaches them, or he kind of passed them, and Charlotte takes the opportunity to talk to her idol.
Excuse me, Mr. Petrovsky.
Yes?
I don't mean to bother you, but I just have to say thank you.
She gushes over him, and honestly, Aleksandr doesn't seem like this is something impressive, right? This is something he is used to. Though he does want to know what did she thought about the art they just witnessed.
Very moving, significant.
And what did you think?
Now he turns to Carrie and he wants to know what she thought about the art. I mean, he saw her laughing at it, so not significant. Carrie, she's not really the arty type. And when it comes to how significant it was, she's like, let's cut the crap, okay? There are so many women who are depressed at home doing the exact same thing as this woman is doing, and they do not call it art, okay?
If you put a phone up on that platform, it's just a typical Friday night waiting for some guy to call.
Aleksandr chuckles. He seems to find it funny, while Charlotte is panicking. She's like, she kidding. Carrie, though, does not get the hint. She continues. You know what? The whole 24-hour thing, not eating, she does not buy it. And she is pretty sure that if anyone actually bothered to come to the gallery 3 a.m. in the morning,
She wouldn't even be up there. She'd be around the corner having a Big Mac.
And who are you?
What do you mean?
was that like a subtle insult or what was that? But Aleksandr wants to know her name.
Carrie Bradshaw.
You are a comic.
Now, Charlotte intercepts again and she starts gushing over Aleksandr again, while Carrie is left there with this expression of, was I just insulted?
You are a comic?
Now, this scene and how she met Aleksandr Petrovsky is so reminiscent of the first interactions she had with Big.
I get it. You've never been in love.
Suddenly, I felt the wind knocked out of me.
And I did a whole video and talked about this feeling of someone being better than you. And they give you these small jabs where it's, you don't want to actually hear it as this person is putting me down because you're more focused on, oh my God, if someone is so important, then I must be stupid and I must prove myself to them. Like, to me, this is like copy paste. And honestly, the whole season 6 and so many interactions between the girls and so on were almost like a replica of season 1. And as much as I went into this, did Carrie actually change? Will this be like a reflection of how she grew? Yeah, you quickly realize that no, Carrie did not learn anything. When it comes to this particular situation, I most definitely was Carrie at one point. I was dragged to a wine tour, like how they make wine, and I had to stand there and listen to someone explaining to me how the temperature needs to be just the right so this machine can do this and the grapes do this and that. And I'm like, Am I supposed to find this interesting? While I was looking around and everyone was like, impressive. Sometimes you find yourself in situations where maybe it's just not that interesting to you, and that's okay. But maybe because you don't feel like you belong, you almost need to make fun of it, right? I don't know which one Carrie is in this situation. And look, sometimes you should be more mature, right? If you don't understand something, it's okay. You don't need to make fun of it. I'm still learning. Clearly, Carrie does not find the art impressive, and that is totally fine. But where it gets tricky is when you think that not being interested in something that everyone else around you is interested in makes you special, makes you different, makes you the outsider that everyone wants to know about. What is that? You don't agree with us? Oh, I have no idea what I'm doing now. To me, this is exactly the vibe that Carrie is giving, right? It's all about, I'm so unimpressed by this, but I'm actually impressing you because I'm unimpressed by this, right? That is actually the selling point, right? That's the thing that makes her interesting. Compared to Charlotte, that's exactly what is happening. There's someone who is gushing over Aleksandr, and she is a very attractive woman, but then there's another very attractive woman who's not impressed by him, right? And that makes her different, makes her special. The problem, though, with guys like Aleksandr could be that when they come across a Carrie in this case, it is not so much that they are interested in them because they are different and they want someone real. It could be more about, challenge accepted. The whole point of being an artist or being famous is that the passion is doing something that will impress people in some way. So when he meets someone who is not impressed by that, it triggers that passion again. Even the way he interacts with Carrie, it's not giving, I really want to know what you think about it. It's more giving, okay, let's see if there is actual any intellect behind that, or are you just kind of talking out of your ass?
You are a comic.
So to me, this is from the get-go, stinking of her interactions with Big, in the same way of this, let's say, a little bit of power imbalance.
I started reading your column after we met.
You did?
Yeah. Cute.
Cute.
Well, yeah, cute.
Now, the thing is that usually who actually holds the power in these situations, even though Carrie thinks she holds the power by being funny and being different and blah, 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 is the person who is more secure in themselves. That's the tricky part. When you have someone who is really confident in who they are and what do they do, they're going to be the one who are going to actually, let's say, call the shots in the situation. And it's exactly what happens between Carrie and Petrovsky. Like, he doesn't even ask her, what does she do? But he immediately makes a little jab that makes her feel less than. That at the end of the day, yeah, you might think you're real and different, but, are you really?
You are a comic.
It's this subtle power check moment where he is intrigued by her and amused by her, but at the same time, he needs to see her or let her know that she might be a little bit uneducated dum-dum. Obviously, the question becomes, why does Carrie even feel this type of way, right? Why does she get affected by how Petrovsky is talking to her?
You are a comic?
She is in this moment of, oh, I'm fun and jokey and quirky and I'm flirting with him in this way, while he then kind of shuts her down, right? It works because she has always been very insecure when it came to men of a higher power or a higher status. Big all over again, right? If she was very secure in who she is, if she wouldn't feel in some way intimidated or out of their league, she wouldn't feel any type of way in this. Or maybe she would even say back to him, no, I'm not really a comic, but sometimes, calling the obvious out makes people laugh. Carrie is performing because on some level, she does feel a bit intimidated, which hints at her wanting to impress him in some way. Now, she's having lunch with the girls. And you know what? Petrovsky doesn't really get out of her mind.
Hey, have you ever heard of that artist, Aleksandr Petrovsky?
And Samantha knows who Petrovsky is because he was the it guy back in the 70s. Oh, he was a regular at Studio 54 and he was dating supermodels left and right.
Oh, my nipples are getting hard just thinking about him.
She's actually very impressed that Carrie got a chance to meet him, and she wants to know, how is he? Is he still this charming guy? Is he still sexy?
We met at a gallery and he was odd.
Which I think is very interesting. You see, she doesn't say, you know what, he was a little bit rude or it was a bit weird. She uses the word odd. Not positive, not negative, very neutral, right? And it hints at her potentially battling between what the F just happened, right? Because on one hand, he was flirting with her, right? He was looking at her, he was smiling. When they were talking, he was paying much more attention to her versus Charlotte. But at the same time, he had these jabs that didn't feel the best. And that makes her feel intrigued. And that's the red flag. Okay, when you start feeling like this, I would say sit down, write something in your journal, talk to yourself a little bit, and think about, do I really need this? Do I really need this? Would I be impressed by this man if he was not successful and an artist? If this was a freaking janitor that would treat me like this? This, there is an impact. And we need to recognize that. And look, it is okay if you're impressed by success and this and that. Of course, it's an impressive thing. But don't let it judge the dynamics or the attitude or how this person treats you. Don't justify it. Don't let it cloud your mind, okay? Don't let the authority bias take over. Be calm, you can do this. So again, we see that Carrie, instead of looking at this situation like, too arrogant for me, I've been there, done that, not gonna work. She's like, oh, what is this? I need to see. And I think it again taps into what Carrie has been struggling through all the 6 seasons, her self-worth being good enough. And if a man like Big or Petrovsky would give her that validation, that would actually mean something because she sees them as something meaningful. Or not even she, the society sees them as something meaningful. So if I get this person to say I'm good enough, then clearly I'm good enough, right? A good clue where things are probably not the best for you is when you start rationalizing discomfort, right? When instead of saying, okay, I felt bad about this and I'm going to leave it at that, you go, I felt bad about this, but does it really make sense? Am I missing something? I need to know more. That's the part that then can get tricky. Listen to the discomfort. Yes, they're joking, but it also feels like they're insulting me at the same time. Listen to those cues. Those cues are usually right. But now Carrie is back at home. She's reading a magazine. She's having her chill time. And there is someone calling on the phone. Now, there's an accent, and no, Miss Carrie is not gonna get scammed.
Hello?
Hello, good afternoon.
Wrong number, sorry.
Now this caller is persistent, and he keeps on trying to get Carrie.
Hello?
I'm sorry.
Yes, I'm sorry too. Wrong number.
Was this scene totally ridiculous and unnecessary? Yes, it was. But I guess they are trying to hone in this, foreign, different, blah, blah, blah.
Sir, I cannot understand you.
This is Aleksandr Petrovsky calling for Carrie Bradshaw.
That she understands, okay? The name of the it guy, she does understand. Now, of course, Carrie needs to be Carrie, according to these writers, which it's like, are we gonna let Carrie evolve? Are we gonna let her grow up in some way? Or are we just pretending that this show has been going on for 6 years at this point? Was it like every season? I have no idea. And she's still acting like a teenager. Because Carrie doesn't just say, oh my God, ha ha ha, this is so ridiculous, I'm so sorry. She starts to pretend that it's not Carrie.
Oh, I'll get her. Hold on. Carrie!
I genuinely hope that people know someone at 38 years old is not going to pretend that it's not them because they're quirky and fun and it's just like this funny comedic bit. No. It means that you need to grow up. People might think that you have problems, wink, wink. Now, Aleksandr is not buying it because why would he?
Hello?
That was you before, yes?
But he does hope that it is okay he called her. He asked a friend of a friend to get a friend to get Carrie's number and, hopefully she's not going to report him.
I hope it's okay.
Okay.
Are you still laughing at that artist?
Clearly, Aleksandr does not know Carrie because Mr. You, the successful it guy, went out of your way to get moi number, the comic. Yes, please, yes.
I'm sticking to my guns.
I thought you would. So let's go see her at 3 a.m. to be sure.
And how do we say? Smooth. Smooth. They can meet up for dinner at 1 a.m. at this Russian place. And then at 3 a.m., they can go to the gallery and check what the artist is doing. Carrie is like, you are not serious, right?
I am serious. She is serious. You're the one who is not serious.
Now, Carrie makes a joke about,
1 a.m., a mysterious place. I'm not going to get sold into white slavery, am I?
And Aleksandr doesn't get the joke.
I don't know what this means.
It was a joke.
Okay, comic, goodbye.
Oh my God, these two. What's that? You want to have someone who you can laugh with. Yeah. These two, perfection. Carrie hangs up the phone and she's intrigued. I mean, there's something about him, about his confidence, about his charm, about his, what's the word? Money. Again, if this was someone who would not have all this success, the F would this go down like this. Oh yeah, meet me at 1 o'clock at a restaurant. And then at 3 o'clock, we're going, sure, Bob, sure. Just because someone is famous and successful and blah, 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 I don't want this message. Oh, then it's okay. No, look, I've come across people who love Petrovsky because, he has everything and Carrie can just live her fairy tale life princess dream forever. And I ain't buying it, okay? No. Petrovsky needs a trophy woman. But I'm getting so ahead of myself. And FYI, Carrie is not that, okay? Carrie is all about wanting to be independent, but at the same time, she's struggling with independence and being with someone. It's a whole shit show. I talked about it through all of the videos on Carrie. So have fun. One thing that I want to add here when it comes to her pretending that she is not Carrie, which, okay, let's do that because it's a comedy show on some level, I guess. The only kind of, deep thing that I can understand why did they decide to go with this scene is showing in a subtle way that Carrie does feel insecure when it comes to this man. This man already made her feel a little bit less than who she is, or that who she is a little bit funny. So there is this additional need to prove herself as, worldly or smart. Now, when it comes to Aleksandr, okay, the whole thing is romantic, smart, playful, right? It's giving this charm vibe. But to me personally, it is also giving the energy of you, Carrie, are a little, you can't play me, you little dumb girl, while he is the mature, secure guy, right? That's one part of it. There's still this feeling of Carrie is a dum-dum while he isn't, right? And somehow they are impressed by each other. Carrie is interested in him because he's the it guy and he is giving her attention. So that's special, while he is interested because Carrie is someone different, right? Someone who doesn't praise him immediately. And now he needs to impress her. My personal opinion. These are characters. But apply this to real world, okay? Okay. But the second thing is the date itself. Now, sure, this could be a very smooth way to have a date, right? He invites her in that way, so it will be like there's a reason to go for a date. I'm not just inviting you for a date. But at the same time, the date is about him potentially proving Carrie that she's wrong. Like, does that not make you feel icky in some way? If I'm not interested in something, I'm not interested in something. I don't need for you to prove to me that it's wrong. Like in this case, Carrie, right? So why? Why don't you just invite me to a normal date? Again, I know that this doesn't have to be this dark way of thinking and pessimistic of seeing it, but hey, we are here to analyze things. And I told you at the beginning that I have some biases when it comes to Aleksandr. To me, this is a masterful play by the artist where he's actually setting up a date to prove Carrie that she is wrong, but he wraps it up in charm and mysteriousness and something different. And that gets you. It gets you. And it gets Carrie because, well, the it guy just invited her to a date even though she's not a part of his world. I mean, that must be special, right? But look, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Aleksandr is totally just, that romance type guy and there's nothing sus about it.
Hi, I'm here to meet Aleksandr Petrovsky.
It's finally date night and Carrie arrives at the place. There's people mingling, but there's no Aleksandr. You see, Aleksandr is waiting upstairs. The VIP place, the whole floor just for them. But he's not, this douche guy in a VIP room. No, he actually comes out of the kitchen.
Good evening. You look lovely.
Everything is nicely set up just for the two of them. The food is already selected. The plates are golden. Okay. It is romantic. But there is a tiny little problem. You see, Carrie is a little late.
You're late. It's 1:03.
Sorry, I don't wear a watch.
How did you ever know your time?
I find that someone will always tell me.
The whole thing of the time and her saying how she doesn't need it and someone else will tell her what is the time, I thought that was quite an interesting insert there. Now, there is one thing that I think plays a role in this is before this date, we see Carrie thinking about when will the one appear.
I couldn't help but wonder, when will waiting for the one be done?
And when she's in this setting with Aleksandr, where she is saying that she always finds someone else to tell her the time, to me, this is showing how Carrie usually is just falling in someone else's timeline, in someone else's life, let's say. Right? She doesn't have control on her own, but she is very adaptable to whatever others' time is. It almost foreshadowed potentially how Carrie is just gonna fall in the life of Petrovsky. He's gonna dictate the timeline. The dinner is ready. It is a little bit strange, not something that Carrie is used to.
What exactly is aspic?
Try it. It's yummy.
I mean, Aleksandr himself is gonna put the food on her plate. She wonders if he always eats this late, but for Aleksandr, it's not really late.
I usually work all night. For me, it's not late.
As you know, Aleksandr.
Aleksandr.
Oh.
Aleksandr.
Carrie gets a little bit flustered, but she tries again.
Aleksandr.
No, she's not getting it. So
Say Alek.
Alek.
Aleksandr.
Aleksandr.
Call me Bob.
oh, jokester. At one point, Carrie shares that she is a writer. She's writing a column for a newspaper.
I write a column for a newspaper.
Congratulations.
Yeah, she's confused. Was that genuine or was he being sarcastic? But Carrie herself is not doing the best because she brings up the Studio 54. And I don't know if she is aware of it, but she's basically telling to the man, yo, all day.
I even had to take a little disco nap. Do you remember those? My spies told me you were quite the regular at Studio 54.
She wants to know about how it was like back in the day. Apparently, the time was amazing. But Aleksandr, he doesn't really think about the past. He lives in the now.
What I care about, what can happen today, tonight, what may happen tomorrow. Yes?
Aleksandr has been living in New York for quite some time now, but at the same time, he lives all over the place. Paris, London, he's an artist, so he travels a lot. But New York is the best of them all because it's the most honest.
Honest?
There's no big smile on its face. It's dark, painful. I like it.
Carrie's like, okay, mister, you make a girl come out at 1 a.m. in the morning to talk about freaking darkness and pain.
It's 2 in the morning. Lighten up, Bob.
Can he tell a joke or something? It's time for tea and fruit. Now, Carrie doesn't really feel like, drinking tea and eating fruit.
Fruit?
I'm not really a fruit person.
Take a banana. Put it in your purse for breakfast.
And look, I'm gonna be honest. Yes. Let me take some takeaway, okay? If I'm out, if there's food on the table, stuff it in the purse. My dad always say, there's nothing at home. That was his joke, okay? It was, we had food. Carrie doesn't really know how to deal with this situation, but, okay, I'll take the banana. So she takes the banana and she tries to put it in her small designer bag, because that's what you do to be nice, right? And as she's putting the banana in the purse, Aleksandr leans over and he's like,
There is banana in your purse, or you're just very happy to see me?
what? She asked for a joke and he delivered. Man of action. When it comes to how the date is going itself, I know that there is this part of he's a man who takes charge, who is confident, who knows what he wants and he just kind of takes it. And he takes you on the ride with him. And there is this sense of sexiness to it, right? Sometimes you feel like you don't want to make all these decisions. You just want someone to take care of you. Okay? But we cannot ignore if that becomes a pattern. There is a subtle need for control this person might have. Because if you look at the whole situation with Aleksandr, everything is on his time, in his world, based on what he perceives is good and not good and so on. Even the food. I mean, yes, of course, romantic if a guy orders your food, I guess, at least in some people find that romantic. I personally find it very controlling. I'm like, unless you know, right? Unless I told you what I want, unless we always go to this place every time and you just know what I'm going to order. And even then, I like to, be asked still, are you going with this, right? I find it controlling. The way Aleksandr already decides what the food is, putting it on her plate, everything is curated in romance, but it is subtle control. And this is the thing with old romance, right? Because the show is also trying to present this or leads you in this direction of, this is old romance, foreign type of romance. But let's talk about old romance, right? It was in the time where patriarchy was very, very strong. And women were even fighting to have a say and right. Put that into a bit more modern world, in the world where women are trying to have a say, it's not that romantic, okay? Of course, everyone has their own preferences. I get that. But don't just equate taking over or controlling as romantic. I personally find it quite romantic if a person knows me or takes in consideration that I am like my own person and individual and curates a date based on that, right? At this point, Aleksandr doesn't know Carrie at all. And he doesn't even care to ask her anything that will maybe help him set up this date. Every action that Aleksandr is shown to do and is like charming and romantic is at the same time also a decision taken on her behalf. She's just there to accept his world. That's the vibe that I'm sensing here. And that I personally don't find romantic. I find it problematic. But let me know in the comments below how you see the situation. Do you agree? Do you disagree? And if you disagree, why? And the way Carrie reacts is again falling into this, I need to adapt, or I'm now letting go of my needs, let's say, or boundaries to not make you feel bad, right? If you already prepared this meat in jelly, I don't want to, first of all, come out again as I'm not sophisticated enough and I don't understand this specific type of food. So I'm just gonna try it even though I don't want to. But on the other hand, there is also this, he prepared all this, so let me make sure that I don't insult him in some way. And that's all good. That's normal human behavior. It is normal that you think about how it would impact the other person, how it will affect the other person, and so on. I think that's needed in society to a degree. The problem is when on the other side, you have people who don't have the same attitude. Aleksandr doesn't have the same attitude towards Carrie. So that's, to me, what is not good. The whole name correction, as much as it's a funny thing, call me Bob, underneath it all, it is again this subtle jab at her. It's also patronizing. She can't get it, so let's make a joke about it. Again, people, I know sometimes I get heated because this is a show, but don't tell me that you don't know these type of people outside. And maybe they don't have money, but they still have this attitude. When it comes to her work, right? The response is again, congratulations. Dry, no emotion. Nothing about, what is the column about? Like any further interest in what she is doing. And okay, you can say, well, you know, he's not, but that's the thing. How can you not be interested if you're inviting this person for a date? Unless you are only interested in your performance. Unless you're only interested how this person is going to be impressed by you, rather than also Aleksandr actually wanting to know Carrie, right?
That must have been an amazing time. Why don't you tell me about that?
Carrie, again, she's trying to engage with him, to get to know him a little bit better, how it was in the past. And Aleksandr is, again, the sophisticated, mature, successful guy that says, I don't think about the past. Okay, eat some meat and jelly. Now again, maybe there is the element, if this was real life conversation, where he actually felt insulted that Carrie mentioned Studio 54 because it indicates how old he is, you know? I mean, that could also be a part, and he's just defending himself. That I would, fair thing, I guess. Overall, Aleksandr is giving the I'm charming, I'm mature, I'm confident. But underneath it all, there is a lot of direction. There is a lot of how he wants, how he sees, what he thinks, and very little in actually being interested in the other person. This is how this character is. And it's a bit ridiculous, but at the same time, it can also be someone that you actually meet outside, right? That you actually get in contact with someone who has some kind of status or authority or arrogance, and you keep justifying that arrogance and that directness because they are successful. So it cannot be something bad, right? Yes, it can. While Petrovsky is someone who is not really getting to know Carrie or trying to connect with her, but it's all about how will I impress her with who I am. Carrie, again, instead of actually seeing how he's doing that and recognizing that that's not really genuine, it's just like a performance, she's also performing in her own way to be accepted, to not be seen as less of in the presence of this man. Basically, a shit show. But now it's time to go to the gallery and test who was right. Is the artist nibbling on French fries, or is she there, committed to her art? They step out of a cab and, oh no!
My purse, I left it in the cab.
Taxi!
So, of course, Aleksandr, who is just potentially challenged with the Studio 54, needs to run after it. And he jumps over, I don't know what, because he might have the age, but the athleticism.
Okay. Forget. Here we go.
It's charming, it's impressive, but it's also a reminder that this man knows how to play the role of a man. To Carrie's disappointment, the artist is still there, starving, waiting.
Do you want to give her a banana?
Honestly, that was funny. But when it comes to Carrie, she just realized that when it comes to odd dates, well, this was number uno.
Of all my odd dates, this was number 1.
It's the end of the date. They're outside and Carrie calls for a cab. But Aleksandr goes to the driver. He says to him something and the cab just kind of passes and waits there.
Where's he going?
I asked him to wait so we could have proper good night.
Oh.
I mean, the charm is charming. He leans towards Carrie and, maybe they can continue this, right?
I live right near here.
But Carrie is, she's seeing through him, okay?
You can take the boy out of Studio 54, but you can't take Studio 54 out of the boy.
It's clear that he wants to get her to bed, okay?
Not tonight, huh?
And she, well, no. But they still make out. And according to Carrie, he tasted like black cherries. So first of all, this is what we have, right? We are solidifying that Petrovsky wins. And Carrie is the one who, her jokes and how the artist is not really there, blah, 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 is kind of a dumb thing to do. Again, I said it before, to me, this is not about art. Carrie does not give a shit about art. The point was the date, right? So the whole thing of going actually to the gallery and, artists actually being there, it's again just, yay, I, Petrovsky, win because you stupid little girl don't understand my world. But of course, this is all just, brewing underneath it all. On the surface, everything is very charming. I mean, don't you find it very charming that you call a cab and the man stops the cab, pays him some extra, whispers something in the language you don't know because he just wants to have a proper goodbye with you. And yes, sure, romantic. Take away the success and the richness. What if you wouldn't like this guy? What if you wouldn't like this guy and he pulled that shit on you? To talk to the cab, tell him to stop and wait, and you're there like, are you going to murder me right now? Like, what's happening? But look, I might be wrong. Because at the end of the day, he did just want to have a proper goodbye, right? Did he want to have a proper goodbye or did he try to convince Carrie to come to his place? Romance, right? It's still romance, right? Because he's a successful artist and rich. I don't know what the writers were thinking with this storyline. Clearly, Carrie was already ready to go home. She called the cab. And yet, he still needed to somehow try to maneuver his way and maybe convince her that they end this night in a little bit of a different way. That's what's actually happening. It's crazy how we like to see romance where there isn't really. Romance is just the camouflage for the shady things that's happening underneath. The thing is that so many times we see romance, not because of a romance, but because of the person who is doing it, right? We assign it as this is so romantic and charming and special because we already decided that this person is something special and romantic and blah, 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 right? Because if you take that away, then also the romance is not really romancing. Then you feel like, oh, this is not really it, right? Oh, I feel uncomfortable. Oh, he keeps on telling me what to do. Oh, he just takes me to this place to prove me I'm wrong. He stops the cab that I caught. That's how it would go down in reality. But yeah, sure, let's call it romance and not the guy and your perception of the guy. And let's not brush over how he said, so, not tonight? Again, this is a show. This is a script. Writers are doing something. They are showcasing how subtle control really is. He's not just asking, so no. He's saying, not tonight. He's already setting up that this is not the last date. And it doesn't matter how Carrie feels about it. I'm sure you've heard about how people say, oh, I should have recognized at the beginning that he was controlling. Oh no, it's not actually that. it's almost like I never knew he was like that. He was so treating me like a princess at the beginning and blah, blah, blah. But I wonder if we would actually look at the treatment underneath the surface level of how this is special, would we already recognize some subtle ways of how someone is controlling you rather than collaborating with you? If someone is just trying to impress you and make them a part of his world or her world, or are they genuinely trying to get to know you? And are they genuinely approaching you as this is not all about me, it's also not all about you, it's about the two of us together. I don't know, a food for thought, I guess. At the end, when they kiss, it's just another confirmation how Carrie just falls into someone who gives her attention, who makes her feel special and different. And she doesn't ever really, or in this scene also, but also through all the seasons, she doesn't really ever actually base her attraction to someone on who the person is beyond the status and the success and how he makes her feel special. If you think about the whole date, it was nothing about her. It was his world, how he curated it, how he controlled everything, how he made jabs at her that or she was late or that she doesn't know how to pronounce his name. Then the whole thing of let's prove to you that the artist is still here. Like, apart from the performance of charm and the success, why would Carrie be into him? And we come back to the problem that Carrie had, or it was shown to have from the get-go. The need to feel good enough and to get the validation from people she perceives as out of, or her being out of their league. That's the only thing. And here's the thing. Carrie again mentions that this date is the oddest of them all, right? She again uses this neutral phrase, which is, in my opinion, showing that she doesn't really want to accept that this was not a good date. That it was all about him, it was all about him performing, it was all about his extravagance, his exclusivity, that these were actually all the things that had nothing to do with her. And because she doesn't want to see this as, well, this man is clearly just about himself, it's again odd. It's again, maybe I don't know something. Best you know from the get-go. He showed to you multiple times. You just don't want to see it because the romance of it all, the success that it's over it, it's much more alluring, right? But look, maybe I'm wrong, right? Maybe Petrovsky is not all about himself and he is really interested in Carrie. 3 weeks pass and not a peep from him. Until a letter. A letter sent to her apartment asking her to go for a walk. Where do you come up with this shit? The writers are really trying to sell this old school romantic thing, right? No, creepy. No, maybe it's not creepy, but it's just weird. It's weird. No text, no call for 3 weeks, and then a letter to her home. I mean, I'm surprised that it wasn't a pigeon with a little letter wrapped around his leg and asking her out. I mean, why didn't they go with that one? So if I say that, you know what, writers are not dum-dums. Like, they know what they're doing. It's just that we are sometimes a little bit dum-dum, okay? I can say that this is honing into trying to show us how everything is performance rather than actual connection, actual interest. He doesn't talk to her for 3 weeks and then he makes a grand gesture of sending a letter. A letter. And that's special, right? No. What would be special is texting, calling, being in touch, That's the special part. The whole aim of a person like Aleksandr, or how this character is showing this, is to impress her. Like, that is the point of it all. Not a real connection. Not really getting to know someone. That's how he moves. And Carrie just still hasn't learned anything, I guess. So they meet up and Carrie pokes a little bit.
It's been 3 whole weeks. I thought you died or something.
I did die from rejection. How could you have left me on the street all alone?
I mean, pro. Pro. You're the one who didn't call me for 3 weeks, but it's my fault. Of course, everything is in the joking kind of way, like he's being funny and sarcastic, but also this kind of jokes, they have some impact on how you see this person. Because if he jokes back and he makes it also about how you rejected him and it's funny, it's like, don't think about the 3 weeks passing and I didn't call you, right? Focus on that, it's funny and you rejected me. It is very charming how he does all of this, right? And the writers, if that was their aim, very good. Aleksandr was actually traveling for work and he actually has a present for her.
Milk chocolate? Or perhaps you like dark? I've got right here.
You don't have a mousetrap in there, do you?
No. Why would I?
And Aleksandr again doesn't get it. It feels that the setup wants to make you feel like this is so romantic and funny and like they're different, but it really isn't. And I talked about this before. Especially when it comes to being funny and jokes and so on, if you are with someone who never gets your jokes, that can easily turn into, of course, it depends on how secure you are in yourself. There is a high chance that you will start shrinking yourself in that department, let's say in the department of being funny, but also in general. Because you're never going to have this feeling of, oh, I made someone laugh, which is in a way, it is a validation. Like, it's not so innocent than just, oh, we're just different. She takes a piece of chocolate and in no time, Petrovsky is in her neck. Seriously, he smushes in her, like kissing her neck. And that's it. They start kissing. That's it, people. After 3 weeks of silence, he sends in a letter, a grand gesture. He even has a present for her, which, could make Carrie feel like he was thinking about her. But honestly, it's a candy that is already unwrapped. He has 2 in his pocket. Was it really an intentional gift for her, or it was just something convenient that he bought for himself? Like, that's what went through my mind. It wasn't like this is just a gift for you. And look, it's very innocent. But for someone like Carrie, who is looking for, how is this person showing me that he wants me and I'm worth it, rather than looking at how do I actually want this person, these things don't go into, oh, this was just casual. These things go, oh, he was thinking about me. And voila, Carrie is taking on a lover.
Yes, a lover. Aleksandr Petrovsky.
Wait, the old guy?
Miranda, don't be so harsh. He is worldly, wise, sexy. They almost did it on the bench in front of the children.
What stopped you?
Common decency?
Besides, Carrie is taking this exactly for the thing that it is.
Maybe he could be more than a lover.
Oh, Jesus.
No, the only place this is going is Loverville.
This is just her dipping her toes, having a little exotic, successful lover.
Well, I could see it going somewhere.
Oh, please, listen, half the time, I can't even understand him. We have nothing in common. He's in and out of Europe.
But the romance and the mystery and the appeal of it all, why not? Just have fun. Bis, there is no problem in having fun. There is no problem in just being casual. But there is a problem when you want something serious and you keep on getting in things that are casual. And you know it, right? There's no logic there, okay? It's clearly a compensation. It's clearly a bandage because you feel some type of way of not finding someone else. That falls into the same group as, I really want to have my own business, but I'm procrastinating every day. And then you say, you know what? I deserve it. I need some time for myself. Well, okay. Sure, you can. You don't need to work, right? You don't need to work on your business. But then don't have that as a goal. Carrie is going into this because her thinking pattern is he is very successful. He is in this artist world. He is foreigner. He is impressive. He is charming. And I should be flattered that he even gives me attention. Also, the track record of Carrie shows that every time she wants to just do something fun with a person that she already put on a pedestal, it ain't working. So don't go into it, right? Be strong and say no. If it keeps on happening, it's not about, oh, it's just this magical thing. No, it's a pattern that you need to address. Now, her and Aleksandr have another date, and this time it ends at his place.
There is my studio, and here is my house.
You have the entire floor?
Not at first, but over the years.
He's trying to show her around, but Carrie, you know what? Kudos to Carrie. This time, she does not want to spend time being impressed by his apartment and everything. She is just looking for the room because, like she said, she's taking on a lover.
Why don't you show me upstairs?
Now, in the morning, she wakes up in this big bed and there is a note next to her.
Turns out, I'd found a sweet bed and breakfast in Loverville.
Aleksandr is preparing breakfast, so she should come down. And Biz, let's not pretend you wouldn't want that also. Can you imagine waking up and there's a little note telling you that the guy is preparing breakfast? Yes, that's the type of romance I would want. Her feeling special dies very, very quickly. You see, there are people there, 3 people who are very, very busy. And when they look at Carrie, it's like they look at a ghost. Like no one is really there. This is just another Tuesday morning. While Aleksandr is cooking in the kitchen, right on the other side.
Morning. Come, sit.
He prepared pancakes. Again, Carrie is feeling a little bit out of place. Like, how is she supposed to digest this, right? On one hand, she feels kind of special. The man is making her pancakes, right? On the other hand, there are other people here who are looking at her like this is nothing, like she's no one there, like nothing new.
Hey, everybody. This is Carrie. It's my stuff.
Now, when Carrie wants regular coffee, I mean, Carrie, didn't you learn? She is not a regular person.
Regular coffee is for regular people. You are not regular.
Now, he wants her to enjoy the breakfast, but he actually doesn't have the time to stay. You know, he needs to go. He needs to prepare for his flight to, I guess, Amsterdam.
There I was, having pancakes at IHOP, the International House of Petrovsky.
Later, when she's taking a walk with Samantha and letting her know about everything, Samantha is kind of like, man, this is impressive. I mean, that's a nice touch. He made breakfast for the woman he slept with. Now, Carrie doesn't really appreciate how Samantha is talking. You know, I mean, it doesn't feel good that it's like, oh, a nice touch for someone he slept with.
What? You don't think you're the first baby battered up for?
No, you're right.
Now, Carrie herself is, you know, she snaps out of it and she's like, oh my God, yeah. I mean, clearly, of course. Why would I even think that? Everything was so orchestrated. Like,
The whole thing was so choreographed. No, he knew exactly what he was doing.
Now, if we look at the situation, what happened, going from feeling like special, and this is something, you know, for her because she's different and so on, she keeps on getting hit with the signs that this is not special, no matter how much you want it to be, right? He doesn't put any effort of this actually being an intimate experience for her or that she is actually special. Because think about it. If he knows that he has a house full of other people and they are working and so on, why don't you prepare the breakfast and bring it up to her? Why don't you say, hey, I hope you slept well. I made you some breakfast. There are some people downstairs. Like, he doesn't put any effort in it, but he does put a lot of effort, like Carrie said, in the performance of it all, right? He's the good guy that even makes you breakfast. But in reality, there is no actual intimacy. There is no actual connection or actually treating her like she's special. She feels special because of the performance he's doing, not because of how he actually treats her. Does that make sense? Now, you know what I'm going to mention now? You know what I'm going to mention now, right? The freaking coffee. Okay, this to me is again control disguised under compliment. You're not regular people, so you shouldn't have a regular coffee, even though you want a regular. Bis, I can have regular coffee and still be special. It doesn't mean that I am not special because I don't like drinking your sophisticated coffee. Carrie, not that. Carrie's special. Carrie needs a real coffee. But Carrie doesn't hear that she's been again denied a basic need. She hears how she is special and she should have something special. But what is special is what he decides to be special. Not something that she wants and would make her feel special. Hello? Make it make sense. Now, the fact that Carrie, even though she said that she's taking on a lover, right, and this is all this is gonna be, seems to kind of not be the case anymore, because suddenly she feels some type of way when Sam is actually acknowledging that this is how he is, and he's probably been doing this for years and years and years, is the outcome of going into a casual thing, not because you actually want a casual thing, but because he's interested in you and that makes you feel special. It's because Carrie feels special that a guy like that chose her, not because she actually wants it to. We've seen so many times how Carrie just falls into relationship with people just because they are interested in her, right? Not because there's actual any substance, but just because they're into her. So if you're into me, then, I'm also into you. And I think it's very common. I think that's something so common. Like, I remember I would also do that. Like, if someone would show interest in me, I would automatically then suddenly also feel interested in them. And it's like, where did it come from? Well, clearly need for validation and nothing healthy. Though, Mary, there is a risk in this realization that Carrie had, or this reality check from Samantha. You see, if Carrie focuses on this is not real because he probably has multiple women, then the second Aleksandr is committed to her, that's all that's needed, right? That's all that's needed. When in reality, is it? Shouldn't she evaluate if she wants to be with this guy or not be with this guy based on what they have in common, based on the compatibility, based on how they are merging both worlds together? If you are only focused that you are the one picked out of everyone, right, and you get that confirmation, then you easily forget that that's not the point. The point is, how compatible are the two of you as two people coming together? She is back at home and she is researching. She is researching Mr. Petrovsky.
Google.com showed many, many listings on the art of Aleksandr Petrovsky. And one on his many, many women.
Because that's what you do, right? And it's not her fault, it's the hormones, okay? When you sleep with someone, there is a brain chemical that happens and it has nothing to do with her, okay?
This chemical may also account for the series of terrifying questions that involuntarily pop into our minds after just one casual tryst.
Does he like her? Will he call her back? Like, all these questions pop into her head, but it has nothing to do with her decision. It's all about brain chemistry. You would wish that one day Carrie would be written or her growth would be done, right? And this would be the moment where she would kind of realize, you know what? I fucked up, okay? I put myself in the situation that I should maybe know I couldn't handle. Clearly, I can handle. So maybe it's best if I just walk away, right? And that's the arc that Carrie has. But no, we are again going with how Carrie is clueless that this is all her doing. Even when she's spending time with Charlotte, she cannot stop obsessing about Petrovsky.
I mean, where can this possibly go?
Thought you didn't want it to go anywhere.
Well, that was before I slept with him. Now, not so sure.
And who knows how many pancakes he's making for other ridiculous women around the world.
Oh my God, listen to me, and I've only slept with him once.
They're actually on a mission, okay? Charlotte needs to do some exercise where she's blindfolded, and Carrie should guide her through the mall. So she could have an experience as a blind person, I guess, and then, help others. They put on the blindfold, and in that moment, Carrie gets a call, and it is Mr. Petrovsky.
Oh, that's a European code. It's him. Should I answer it? Okay. Hello?
Carrie, it's Alex.
Hi. How's Amsterdam?
It's very Dutch.
What? Oh, I can't hear you.
There's bad signal, so she just needs to take a couple of steps away from Charlotte, who is now blindfolded, and she is not allowed to take it off. Petrovsky asked Carrie for another date.
Tomorrow night?
About 9, yes?
Yes.
Tomorrow, are you free?
Yes, I'm free.
Carrie is just happy that she got that relief, right? Who knows how long has it been since he called her last time? Honestly, I don't know. I don't remember. And by the time she gets back to Charlotte is now lost. Now, you would think that Carrie would obsessed, walk around and try to find Charlotte. But no. Carrie has a date next day, okay, with Mr. Aleksandr Petrovsky. So clearly, her mind is somewhere else.
They had these over there in the... I swear I looked, and then I thought, best if she finds me. I'm eating him tomorrow. Cute, huh?
Clearly, Carrie is in it deep. And she is in it deep because she put this person on a pedestal from the get-go. This person is treating her like a princess, but then he disappears. Then reappears with a grand gesture and then disappears again. And all of this makes her get caught up into this need to be validated, need to be proven that she is good enough. And he's doing that all the time. And she's not really seeing that she's not getting into this situation with no indication of, do I actually like him? But it's all about, I need to prove myself to him. I mean, we could even say that she's going from, I'm taking on a lover, to, I want to be the exception, okay? I want to be the best girl in this girl rotation that he probably has. And again, everything is on his terms. He just gives time and place, and she's like, be there. If we take like a metaphor from how Charlotte is having these blinds on and so on, it's also a funny way of showing how Carrie is actually the one who is blindly going after a man or trying to prove herself to a man. And she's not really focusing on the presence, or in this case, the person who actually needs her and also values her as a person. No, she lets everything go. She just needs to now, prove herself to another man who she doesn't even know anything about, apart from the fact that he's successful and rich.
Okay, let's get blind.
Finally, she is meeting Aleksandr again, and he has another present for her. This time, a little bit more curated to her. How do you say this? Tsokle. I wonder how many people know what is tsokla. But as they're lying in the bed, cuddling a little bit, Petrovsky actually needs to go to the studio.
Hey. I have some work to do in my studio. You're welcome to stay, okay?
Now, Carrie is left there alone, and after some time, she realizes that this does not really feel good. This feels a little bit hookerish. No, she doesn't feel that. She doesn't say that. But how we could see this is she was invited to come. He gives her a gift. They do the deed. And then he goes and works on his things while she can wait in the bed. Let's not ignore that aspect of it. It's not romantic. It's bullshit. They are actually, in the early stages of dating, I guess. So she finally gets that this is not going to work, okay? She thought that she can be in the Loverville, but it's not really something she's looking for. She gets dressed. She knocks on the studio.
Why?
I just wanted to say thank you. I'm gonna go.
Okay, then I'll call you tomorrow, right?
This has been really lovely.
Despite everything being so nice, this is not really for her. She's not built for it. Petrovsky is a bit confused. What does she mean?
The pancakes and the other ladies, it's just not for me.
Aleksandr smiles, and although there are pancakes, there are no other girls.
I have a book with few emergency telephone numbers, yes. But now I just see you.
And this is not just a great bang for Aleksandr. He likes her. Carrie is looking at him and she's surprised.
Why me?
Why me?
You make a good breakfast.
She asks him what is his art about? What is he working on? But it's actually too soon to tell. And voila, it's exactly what I said. If she stays or doesn't stay with this man, it's only based on if he has other girls, if she is not the only one. And that's the pattern with Carrie. She keeps on wanting to be chosen, but she never really steps to see who is the person who is choosing me and do I actually want this person. It's been like that since the get-go, since Big, Aidan, who is it? The burger guy before the Petrovsky. I don't know. So many people. She just loves being chosen, and she forgets that she needs to also do the choosing, and not based on validation, but based on actual compatibility. Even the sentence of why me is again feeding into this is special because you chose me, not because it's special because we have so many things in common and we are really good for one another. It has nothing to do with that. And I don't know how many of you out there, okay, want to say that Petrovsky was was perfect for Carrie because he can just buy her stuff and she can just shop around. Clearly, you do not understand or know Carrie or what does she actually want. She doesn't really know herself, but Petrovsky ain't it. If she would take a step back, she would actually see that every time she's around this man, she feels a little bit uncomfortable. She feels like she needs to adapt and prove herself. She never really understands if he's complimenting her or giving jabs at her. And she's never really a part of it. It's more like she's just catching up to his timeline, you know? Like I said, at that scene where when she doesn't have a watch and she just lets someone else tell her what time it is. If you want to know more about how we in general fall for guys that are not really the best for us, even when we know that they're not really the best for us, but then suddenly we end up with chasing them, then I recommend you to watch my video on You. The analysis on the season 5 You, which is the first part of the video. And I think next week or in 2 weeks, it will be the second part. There's a lot of nuggets there. And honestly, I want your opinions. I want you to tell me, how do you feel about everything? So click right here if you want to watch that video. But the best thing of it all is when we just simply do one thing. Trust your individuality.